Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.
What up, folks? Wow, I feel like I've been putting double and triple duty all women's wrestling today. It's been quite an eventful day. Here we are, and I'm really glad that we are doing the news today. We're going to try to bring it to you guys on a weekly basis, but, work with us. So welcome to Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. My name is TK Trinidad, and I am not alone, folks. I really just pull up the wrong folder. Here we go. Well, I know who I'm talking to. So please welcome from the Hardy Wrestling Podcast. Please welcome Stephanie Hardy.
Hey, y'all. I'm so happy to be here doing the news with you guys.
No problem. I'm happy that you're here. And we also have another amazing guest. You might know her. I mean, I'm just saying, you might have seen her just, announcing randomly at SummerSlam, just, here. Please welcome ringside Raina. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming on. We really, really appreciate it. So let's get into it. There's so much to talk about. A lot of stories. I had a really hard time picking which stories I wanted to use, but I tried to make it very diverse. So let's first start off. If you guys watched us at I think about 2:00 this afternoon or 2 hours ago, we talked about the PWI 500, and a lot of women made the list. Now, the highest woman on the list was the 44th position, which is belonging to Trish Adora. Which is absolutely amazing. She has just been killing it on so many levels. So what do you guys think of this placing on the PWI list?
Well, I'm really proud of her, like, for even being considered to be on the list, at all. Like, I'm really proud of her. And then to see, how she's just been growing little by little, more and more as she wrestles, and then just being a representative of the Pan-African World Diaspora Championship. Like, I'm just really proud of her. It just seems like for everything that she does, she just improves and just becomes greater by leaps and bounds. And I'm just really glad that she was ranked the highest on this list. Like, it's just really great.
Yeah, not the funny thing, she had an Iron Man match. I thought it was last year, but it was actually this year around Valentine's Day. And like that match, if you go back and check that match out, that is not, I mean, any type of Iron Man woman, like if you had it against a woman or a male, it was a great match. So definitely go and check it out if you have no idea who she is, which I think you should. But c'est la vie. So congratulations to Trish. Just amazing things coming her way. She was also on ROH. She's been popping up everywhere. So I feel like next year we're going to see her in even more places. So definitely check her out if you guys don't know who we're talking about, which again, I mean, I feel like we're in the news, so we should be educating you guys, but some things should be known. Our next story, Roxy and Miranda Alez for the ROH. Have you guys been watching this championship?
No, I have not. I haven't, but
a lot of wrestling going on. So you have the ROH, then you have NWA just had their Empower. WWE is also doing stuff with women as well. I mean, we had the PWI, the 150 that's coming out in like a month. There's just so much women's stuff coming out, and ROH had women. I want to say Women's Crush Wednesdays, but wasn't it? They have their shows coming out on Wednesday, and it's the women's. The women at one point before, I think in the spring, they were competing to get their golden ticket into the championship, and now they've been going through the championship, and now there are 2 women left. Are you guys familiar with any of these ladies at all?
With Miranda, Elise, and Roxy?
Yeah.
I'm seeing like them on social media, and like the fact that like the storyline here we're in, they are facing each other for the championship, but then they have to team up first. It's to me a classic storyline we're in. You gotta like work with your enemy before you work with that person as a team member before you actually face that person. It adds more drama and conflict to the storyline.
I know. Kudos to them because they do that sometimes, and I would never agree to that. I'm like, why would I want to work with somebody and then have a match with them? Because now they know my weaknesses, they know my strengths, all that stuff. And to me, I guess this speaks to like how much of a fighter I am. Like, I don't want to fight fair, and I don't want to give you like like I don't want to let you know like all the little because everybody has these little Achilles heels. So I don't want to give you any of that. But I mean, kudos to them. I'm definitely interested in seeing who's going to come out as the victor and the champion. There was a lot of women in this. It's just so crazy how you see the women going through the forbidden door, like excluding WWE. We already know what they're about, which is, do you. But you're seeing different women going through different promotions. It's really cool to see, like, for instance, Chelsea Green. You see her you see her on NWA. You see her on Impact. She's also on ROH. Like, it's great to see women kind of going through and having some of those dream matches that we wouldn't necessarily see because some promotions are closed and some people stay at the promotion for their whole entire career. So it's really great to see that and showcase women's wrestling even on like a women's wrestling promotion. So I'm excited to see the end of that. That's going to be happening this Sunday. So we will see who's going to be the winner for that. Now, another thing for you guys who are watching, we're going to be doing is a watch along. And I believe me and Stephanie are going to be there, or Stephanie and I, the correct way. And we're going to add some people as it gets closer. Extreme Rules is happening September 26th. And first off, before I tell you about this story, I'm going to throw you guys in for a loop. Can we talk about, and I don't want to go into too much because I get passionate about this, Becky and Bianca. You guys saw Raw this week?
Yes.
Where Becky, Bianca's like, all right, like every when I lose a championship, I have to at least fight for it again. And Becky's like, no. And I'm just kind of like, really, Becky, this is what we doing right now. And I get it. I love the fact when they have storylines that, because I'm not gonna throw, I want to say I'm gonna throw you under the bus, Stephanie, but that's not what it is. Stephanie gets a little bit emotional with some stories, and I'm not the emotional person with stories. So I love it when a story gets me upset. I'm just like, really, Becky? So you're gonna cheap shot her and do the Mayweather? If you guys are not familiar with the boxing term, Mayweather was in the ring with Victor Ortiz, and he kind of sucker punched him. But at the end of the day, you always have to protect yourself all the time. So it's kind of one of those situations. Like, Bianca should be prepared no matter. You're in a ring. That's what the ring is meant for. So, but it was very disrespectful. And so they decided that match is also going to be happening Extreme Rules. So what do you guys think of Bianca and Becky? Do you think that's going to just, Bianca's going to lose again? What are your hopes? And what are your hopes and what are the reality? What's the reality?
I guess, like, for me, I think Bianca would, as much as I want her to win right away, I think it helps with the story to push the story forward if Bianca loses. Because right now, Becky is trying, I think, what I'm perceiving, she's trying to be a heel right now. If you judge the reaction of the crowd when Becky and Bianca were both in the ring, it's kind of, there were people who were cheering for Becky and also for Bianca as well, but you can kind of sense that the crowd's being divided. Mm-hmm. So in a sense, you're seeing this like great conflict, and it's like, okay, do the audience really want Becky to turn heel? But then again, Becky's facing Bianca Belair, which is such a baby face. So to me, it will add more fuel to the fire if Bianca loses at Extreme Rules, and that will make Becky become more of a heel. Like, the heel turn would be more effective for Becky Lynch.
Well, I know for my taste, I would personally love it if Bianca won it back and actually participated, in a full-on knockdown drag-out match that we didn't get at SummerSlam. I would prefer if she had won it, because the thing that I loved about that promo on SmackDown was the fact that she owned up to the fact that she wasn't as prepared as she should have been. And that, was a really, cool moment there, because how many times do you see people, especially in sports, really, well, I know you see people in sports take responsibility for their shortcomings, but even in real life, whenever we make mistakes, we try to blame it on something else, instead of pointing it back at us.
Mm-hmm.
But she did that, and I thought that was good. And I would prefer if she were to own her mistake and then go learn from that mistake and then go on to win. But that's just me in my dream scenario. But in the reality is that Becky is Becky, and WWE is basically looking to hang on to something that's going to give them a shock thing, that's going to keep them in competition with AEW. No matter how many times they say they're not in competition with them, they are. And I feel like that's the main reason as to why they had Becky win it in the first place.
Hot take.
So yeah. So it's just like I feel like the reality is that somehow Becky might retain, but I'm hoping and keeping my fingers crossed for Bianca. And if Bianca doesn't win this time, I predict that she might go heel if the crowd turns on her. Because Raina did say that the crowd was kind of half and half. And there were some people who were booing Bianca, and then there were some people who were cheering for Bianca and all that. So I feel like if they keep cheering for Becky, we might see heel Bianca that we saw in NXT. So who knows? I don't know. But yeah.
So here's the thing. I agree with you. I would love for Bianca to win. I just don't think it's happening. But then can you still, if you're going back to the Bianca NXT, where she was saying that she was the EST of NXT, but she still to this day, and I hope that one day she goes to NXT to actually get the belt, because I believe they robbed her of it, but another long story. Still to this day, like if she were to lose that match, is she still the EST of WWE? You know what I'm saying? Like you can't.
I feel like her EST is mostly a mindset, because I feel like the championships don't make the person makes the championship.
Ooh, okay. I can't see you today, Stephanie. All right.
So I feel like she's always going to be the EST regardless of whether she has the belt or not. So yeah, I feel like she's going to always keep that mindset, because it would be dumb if she were to just drop that just because she didn't have a title. Like she kept it all this time. So why drop it just because you don't have a title?
Okay. I see.
I totally agree with that, because like that gimmick of the EST of the WWE has been really, like, if I see Bianca Belair, that's all I can think of. And then whether she is a champion or not, to me, she's always going to be the EST, because I like how Steph put it as that's the mindset of Bianca Belair. So I think that the EST of WWE will always be associated with Bianca Belair, whether she's carrying a title or not. And I think that's why the crowd is cheering for her a lot too, because no matter what, she doesn't need an accessory, aka a belt, to kind of prove that she is the EST.
I like it. So another women's match that's set up for Extreme Rules is going to be Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. Now, before we discuss them, so was Nia Jax just a filler? My goodness. This is gonna seem very weird. So for my religious folks out there, please don't take any offense to it. But sometimes I feel like WWE is has a God complex. Like, like how you talk to God and you have all these plans, or universe, wherever you guys fit into the spectrum of that, and you have all these plans, and then God is just up there laughing like, no, TK, this is, I don't know what you thought it was, but, and I feel like that's what WWE is doing to us. They're like, no, TK, I don't know what you thought it was with Nia. That was just a pump fake, and this is what it really is. And it's just kind of like this. Wait, but I thought we were going this direction. I don't know if y'all felt that way, but that's how I felt. So please let me know.
Well, I felt like with the whole Nia thing, I feel like this week on Raw, they were sort of trying to take advantage of the attention that them actually fighting the week before got. Because that was like a lot of people were saying that was a shoot, situation where they were really getting in each other's faces and pushing each other and all that other stuff. So they were really fighting. So I feel like this was them sort of taking advantage of that, and putting that on television because they knew it was gonna be intriguing. Now, I'm not necessarily mad that Nia didn't win because, to be honest, it's like long term, I'm not exactly sure how. I don't know how they would have made Nia being champion work at this point in time. I'm not sure. And that's no shade to her because she's cool and everything, but I just don't understand. I just don't necessarily understand like how that would work just like right now. So
yeah, somebody agrees with you. I'd much rather see Alexa in a title match.
yeah, because it's been a long time for both of them.
I'm not saying I don't want to see it. Alexa's not deserving of it. I'm just saying that it just seems like this Nia thing was just thrown together, and then all of a sudden, oh yeah, y'all didn't see that. This is what's really gonna happen in 2 and some day weeks. So it's just kind of like, why didn't you just build to that after SummerSlam to give us something? Because I feel like, I mean, we can all agree Alexa's great on the mic. The storyline, I'm still rolling with it. So why couldn't you guys use that after SummerSlam to build up to Extreme Rules versus throwing Nia into the picture? Now we really don't know what between her and Shayna. Like, obviously there's gonna be a breakup eventually, but it's just kind of like, I don't know. I just feel like the WWE likes toying with I want to say us, but me. I don't know how you guys feel. I don't want to speak for you guys, but they just like toying with me. It's like, no, this is, I don't know what you thought it was, but we actually write the show, so your feelings don't matter. That's how I feel sometimes. So yeah.
Yeah, I honestly didn't. I mean, I didn't expect Nia to win. I was hoping for her to win, actually, just because. I mean, Charlotte, she's won so many championships. I feel like
1002 to be exact.
Right.
To me, it's like, okay, can we give somebody else like a chance? And Nia hasn't been champion for a while. So to me, it was kind of like, oh, great opportunity for Nia Jax. And when the whole Shayna Baszler thing happened between Nia and Shayna, it was like, okay, I know this is not going to work for Nia then. But when the whole Alexa Bliss interruption after Charlotte won, in my head I was like, man, why can't Nia Jax win? And then Alexa shows up because there's history between Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss.
Yes.
I forgot about that. But is that the same? Is that the same Alexa that we're dealing with, or is she just a whole new entity? Because like, will she remember that, or is she a different? Like in the universe of things, I don't know. I feel like with Nia Jax, the next time we see her as champion, she needs a manager. Period. So if we ever see Nia with a manager, I think that's when we're gonna see her as champion. No shade to her. I love her as a wrestler, but some wrestlers need managers, like a Paul Heyman, like somebody speaking on their behalf to sell the story. And some wrestlers can do it all. I just think Nia would be more impactful if she had a manager to like just, she'll speak once in a while, but you have somebody like a Paul Heyman tell the story and now you get on board regardless. Because like, think about Roman Reigns without Paul Heyman. Do you think that you'll be as invested in the story? Like, I mean, I'm gonna put my feelings out there. I have always loved Raymond. Sorry, I called him by the wrong name. As like, I don't really love him, but I've always loved Roman Reigns because he's hot. We'll start with that. And then he's a good wrestler. But the primary thing was he was hot. Now with the storyline, I can definitely get behind him more as a character. But with Paul Heyman, it's just kind of like, yes, like I am for all that. I love to hate you. And in addition, you do like the addition part is you look good. Whereas before it was like you look good and you can wrestle. Now it's like, no, I hate you That's like hot, and you can wrestle. That's my hot take. I don't know how you ladies feel about, it's somebody agrees with me in the chat. I mean,
Yes.
the
Period.
Evolution says Roman Reigns is hot. Period. I mean, I didn't want to put it like there because I don't want the men and Roman, if he were to watch this. I mean, let's assume he's watching this, to feel like he's a piece of meat. But I'm just saying.
Yeah, and his attractiveness does help.
Exactly.
But there's an extra oomph to him with Paul Heyman by his side. Like, it just makes him seem like he's more of a believable heel character that he's never been before. Like, there's just an extra oomph to him since he has Paul Heyman by his side. It's like you believe that he's the head of the table because Paul Heyman says he is.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and that which scares me a little bit because I don't want them to break them up, but we'll see what happens. But
I mean, we're only talking women's wrestling, so let's not even go into that. But do you think Nia would benefit from somebody like a Paul Heyman?
I say so, yeah. That would be cool. That would be really interesting. It almost makes me wish Zelina Vega was still being a manager because because as quiet as it's kept, she was probably one of the best female managers that they had in terms of a modern era. But she also wanted to wrestle too, so I get that. But she was a really great manager. So if she was still being a manager, that probably would have worked.
I feel like Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax, I felt like they were kind of helping each other out. But then again, Shayna is not a manager. I do agree with Zelina Vega. If she could be that manager figure for Nia Jax, that would be helpful. But could you imagine if Nia Jax becomes a part of the bloodline?
Let me. This is your first time on the show, and it's okay. It's okay. I'm not out there like that. But I've been talking about, let me show you how serious I agree with you. I've been talking about this for 2+ years. This is how serious I am. And you notice that I'm there beside Nia because look, they should have did that storyline. The women should have wrecked shop a long time ago. Naomi is a great athlete, a great wrestler. She would too benefit from a manager. Why not have one manager do the whole bloodline, call it a day, and they just, I know Paul Heyman, he calls the shots, but have him on. I mean, you could split them up, but have Paul on both brands calling the shots and speaking to them and have them wreck shop. I've been saying that you don't understand. I've been talking about this for a very long time. This is why I say WWE does not care about my feelings, because sorry that you just touched the nerve. You just touched the nerve. Like, we barely see Naomi. Like, what are y'all doing? Like, there's only so much catering you can eat. I'm just okay. I'm sorry. Go on, Stephanie.
But here's the thing, TK, though. Like, NXT did just sign one of the Usos brothers, so. Maybe one day you'll be a manager for him or something. So.
I mean, why not the whole family? And so he said Naomi's married. Look,
family is family, okay?
Yeah, at the end of the day, she's rocking. Like, let's take it out of wrestling real quick. So her husband has 2 kids, and those, like, she posts the kids all the time. She posts the family all the time. The family posts her. They acknowledge her. It's not one of those situations where somebody has a wife and like, she's just there. No, she's acknowledged by the family. Roman Reigns actually talked about her in either an interview or article 2 weeks ago. She is acknowledged. It's WWE doesn't want to acknowledge her as part of the bloodline. So let's not do that. She's part.
But they did acknowledge her. They acknowledge her when it's beneficial, because they acknowledged her when she was feuding with Mandy that time.
Yep.
And they acknowledged it for a mixed match challenge, but they do it when it's beneficial.
Yes. Yes. See, Revolution to Evolution, you feel my pain. Yes. She does deserve all the titles, but on, like, and let me preface this, I really do love Naomi, but I also feel like she's in the same boat as Nia. They would both benefit having a manager, because it's like sometimes you can tell your story and be very effective, and then sometimes you have like a Paul Heyman. I think there was a tweet out there where somebody said, I want my boyfriend to look at me like Paul Heyman looks at Roman Reigns. Like, I don't know, that tweet might have came out like 3 to 6 months ago or something like that, but he is fully invested into this, that it's very believable. Like, that's how good he is. So imagine if you had somebody that good, and or Paul representing the whole family. Like, you know, just give him a raise for 6 months and say, this is what we're gonna do. Like, I mean, I want to say you could have some. MVP was really good at, you know, doing stuff together, but it's like, you know, we saw what they did. Let's not even. Again, I'm not going to go on tangents. We only have a little bit of the show left, but back to Alexa and Charlotte. Rain's like, oh, I don't know if I want to come back because a lot of opinion.
Hope I'm not scaring you, Raina. Okay.
I love the energy.
I don't go on many tangents, but there's certain things I go on a lot of tangents on. So who do we think? And you know, this could I mean, we still have about 2 weeks left, but who do you think is gonna win? And do you think this is the play for Charlotte?
Ooh, to me, honestly, I think, this is tough. I feel like Alexa's gonna win. Because like Charlotte is being built up as like, you know, the opportunity, like the that woman that you can't defeat, and
right.
You know, well, now here comes a character, which is Alexa Bliss, who has supernatural, you know, powers, I guess, if that's what you can call it, or she does something extra, I guess. Mm-hmm. There you go. That might be something that would help her defeat someone like Charlotte Flair.
Right. I wonder if they're going to treat her like Bray Wyatt, though, because Bray Wyatt also had many title shots, and they built him up, and we like fell into the trap of the character in a good way, and then like he didn't get it, and then of course WWE doesn't care about our feelings, and they just move on to something else. Like, I feel like because Alexa is so solid as a character, that doesn't really matter. Almost like how we were talking about Bianca, it doesn't really matter if she has a title. So I don't know. I wonder if they're just playing with our emotions until they figure out, you know, I don't know, how to bring Becky and her together on the same promotion. I don't know. But I don't know. I have Charlotte for this one. I don't want to have Charlotte for this one, but I have Charlotte for this one. Just because, you know, who doesn't want to have the championship for the 200th time? Just saying.
Yeah, but I have Alexa for it though.
I mean, I hope so. I just don't think so. But we'll see. Now time for our sponsor.
Ladies, listen up. Manscaped offers precision engineered tools for you and your man's jewels. For any women out there who have come across a hairy bush, you're now in luck. Manscaped, the best in men's below-the-waist grooming, has just launched their 4th generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0.
Now make sure your man joins the 2 million men worldwide who already trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer just for you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with this code WWT at manscaped.com.
Ladies, this is the perfect gift for you and your man. And trust me, he will thank you. And men, your balls will thank you.
Now you guys remember, get 20% off and free shipping with the code WWT at manscaped.com. And remember, experience premium grooming with Manscaped. There it is, guys. Get your Manscaped. Get those balls together. Now, before I go into this, I want to preface it because we have a lot of shows on our channel. So definitely go and check it out. So just in case you didn't see it, oh, dang it. Did I not? Oh, I have. Just in case you didn't see it, definitely go and check out. We had AEW coverage with Stephanie. Who else was on there? Stephanie, Emily. There was somebody else. I can't remember. Here it is. Oh, Santana. My bad. Shout out to Santana. So we had a all out review show. So definitely go and check that out. Emily was there and present to talk about it. So definitely go and check out that show that's on our YouTube page. Now that leads us to Ruby Soho. So she made her appearance at All Out. She had a match yesterday. Was it yesterday?
Yeah, it was yesterday.
Like my days are all like to me tomorrow's Sunday. I don't know. Anyways, she's successful. Like I was telling you guys off air, the Britt Baker and her line about Ruby. I don't know. It's just funny. I love when people have like really sharp, as long as it's not directed to me, but Ruby being in catering for 2 years and not really doing anything was kind of hilarious. It was great. It was, I think AEW definitely is very on point as far as using what's happened in that person's world. So what do you think do you think Ruby is going to eventually dethrone Britt?
I don't know. I'm gonna say I don't know for now, simply because number one, I'm still, finding my groove when it comes to AEW. But number two, since Ruby just debuted, I don't think it's her time just yet, even though she has a strong opportunity, being that she made her debut, and this is like the biggest opportunity she's received since she's been on a public platform in terms of television and in the mainstream wrestling world. um I feel like this is her time to shine in a sense, but I'm not sure if she'll truly be the one to dethrone Dr. Britt Baker. And then you also have to take in the fact that Britt Baker has like two people
A
who,
team.
yeah, a team that would basically help her in Jamie Hayter, who she faced and beat last night, and Rebel. So she has those X factors. So it's just, I'm not sure if right now is the time, but she probably will later on down the line.
Yeah, for me, I hope so. Just because I know she deserves it. Not saying that other women don't deserve it. I'm just saying that, her story is basically, she's good. She's great at what she does. And then she wasn't really utilized that well. She was a jobber at WWE. And for her to be let go, it's kind of like that ultimate low, right? And then here comes like, oh my God, she comes back to AEW. I feel like that's going to be like the ultimate like payoff for everything that she had gone through.
But then you just mentioned it. What about the other women who've been putting in their time? Like, I mean, obviously she won the battle royale, so she, she's that's her thing. But I don't know. I mean, I think Britt is doing such a phenomenal job at being I'm just, for the sake of, going back to my rant, I'll call it the Roman effect. Like, you love to hate her. Like, she's doing such a phenomenal job. And she's great on the mic. Like, I don't want to see, and it'd also be good to see her going back after the belt, but you can't have too many changeovers, like, so close. And I don't know I think Ruby is ready. I just don't know to carry the company, especially the women's division. I think they're really trying to build it. Like, I could see someone like, for instance, a Jade Cargill, but Jade is not all the way there wrestling wise. So it's just kind of like, I think there's a lot of other women in the women's division, but I see AEW putting the belt on Ruby because on mainstream media, like, you have different arcs, right? You have the wrestling folks who they're diehard wrestling fans, they watch every show, and there's that natural progression. And then you have the folks who check in once in a while, but the WWE and other promotions catch their attention with stuff like a Ronda Rousey, or like stuff that people are familiar with their names. So the wrestling world is familiar with Ruby because of WWE, and now she's at AEW. So now it might bring more attention to the women's division because you might not necessarily be watching AEW, but you're familiar with the name. So like that shock value. So I think that might be their play. I'm not necessarily for that play because I'm one of those people. I don't necessarily watch every week. I try to binge watch a lot of it, so I do keep up with it. But I want all the other women to get their shine as well, who've been putting in that work and who we don't even see on television. Let's not even get into I'm just getting up for another rant because I know we're gonna be talking about her soon anyway. But yeah, that's the next story. So, friend of the show, she's been on the show quite a few times. Big Swole, look here. If y'all don't know who Big Swole is, y'all need to go and look her up. She is absolutely amazing. She's a great wrestler. She's been in the game for a long period of time. And I feel like they're disrespecting Big Swole. Why are we not seeing Big Swole on TV like we see everybody else? They have more than enough time. Even if you give her not a Kira Hogan match where that was less than a minute. Give her like 5 minutes so we could like what is the deal? Why are we not seeing Big Swole on television? Because she deserves to. And mind you, she is on AEW Dark, and we do see her on other YouTube shows. And no shade to YouTube because we on YouTube right now. However, y'all have a whole network show. So why is Big Swole not where she deserves to be? I don't know if that was a question posed to you guys. Again, that was more of a feeling. I just, you can have so many matches. Like, why didn't she get to challenge Britt Baker? Why haven't we seen her in the picture? At least trying. It just, it just feels like she's on a ladder that like she should be somewhere else. She should be at least higher up in the picture.
I mean, unless they are using her to kind of pull people to watch, the content on YouTube, it could be that too. Because if she has like following, then the assumption is the following will watch her wherever she is, which is YouTube. So maybe that could be a way of helping other talent who are also doing AEW Dark on YouTube. If they bring Big Swole there, in their minds, all right, people are here to watch Big Swole, but here are the other superstars that we have here. That might be it. I don't know. I might be wrong.
Yeah, revolution to evolution is kind of like that fits a lot of people's sentiment on Twitter the other day when Big Swole versus Diamante in their 3 strikes match, and how that should have been on Dynamite because they felt like that was a unique stipulation to have in a match, in a women's match, in a match period.
Crazy.
Yeah, but
prior to that was sorry. Go on, Stephanie. My bad.
Yeah, but a lot of people on Twitter, were talking about the trouble that AEW is having with, having more diversity in terms of Black African American wrestlers on their shows, on their main shows, and put up on the same pedestal that they sort of put everybody else on and feature them as prominently as they feature everyone else. So a lot of a collection of people were watching YouTube to, for that match to prove that Black wrestlers do draw. And they were supporting that match in droves and saying, and even Big Swole was on her Twitter and said, look, if y'all are really about this business, watch my match. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people were, and I know I did as well. And I was definitely impressed by it. I loved it too. So somebody like Big Swole does deserve to be put more on a pedestal and put on shows like Rampage and Dynamite. Mm-hmm. But I'm also wondering if her possibly battling, I'm not sure the name of the disease that she has, but
health issue. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, her health issue. But yeah, I'm wondering if that also has something to do with it as well. Because I believe there was one point where she was in line for an opportunity, but then she had to pull out because of dealing with her health issue. So I don't know if it's
I believe that was earlier this year, but here's my take. Yeah. Right. If you have the health issue, then that's fine. But you're still where you are right now, you're healthy enough to do the YouTube show. So that means you're healthy enough to do the show.
Right.
And again, correct me if I'm wrong, because obviously I'm not backstage. I don't write. I don't work for AEW. I don't know what goes on in the inner workings of there, whether doing the show on YouTube, AEW Dark is less pressure wise, health wise. You don't have to be there as long. I don't know what the inner workings are, but it's just kind of like, if you're gonna show up to wrestle, then you could show up to wrestle. Not to say it's her fault. I don't want to sound like that, but you can have her wrestle on the main show, or at least, and we'll see what's gonna happen. At least highlight some, and I think they do that once in a while. I know they were doing that at the beginning of AEW. I don't know if they currently do it. I haven't seen it. I don't recall seeing it, but at least highlight AEW Dark and the other shows that they have on the main show. Then people refer back to it. I don't know.
Yeah, like they'll put the results of AEW Dark on the bottom of the screen, by running across like a ribbon. But other than that, they really won't show anything else involving it. And maybe they should show more highlights for that.
Yeah. That'll be a good promotion too if they show the highlight too. They'll people too.
At least, because then it will make you want to. Because let's be honest, there's a lot of wrestling. As somebody who tries to stay on top of it, there's a lot of wrestling. And now AEW added another show, and I understand why they did that. But for somebody who actually watches it in order to cover it, it's a lot going on. And it would be really beneficial if they highlight that. So then it's just like, okay, I might not watch the whole show, but I'm going to look for that particular match. Or, it's just, I don't know. It's, but also let me preface it. Big Swole has been on the show 2 or 3 times. And anybody who has been on Women's Wrestling Talk, I automatically feel like a kinship, like I push for them even more. I mean, Roman Reigns hasn't been on the show, but we already know why I push for him. But it's just one of those things that
we'll get him one day.
I know, right? Long story short, go and check out the match if you haven't checked out the match. Go and follow Big Swole if you haven't followed her. Let her know that Women's Wrestling Talk sent you. Their daughter, her and Cedric Alexander's daughter, jumps from the couches and like gives flying elbows and stuff. And like, it's just an overall cool family. So sorry, there's a lot of tangents today. I don't know what. Maybe my Red Bull is kicking in. I don't know what it is. So if you're all getting into where are we? 45 minutes in the show, and just like TK is given 3 rants. This is not the usual. It's not, but I am so happy for this woman. She left WWE, and I think everybody kind of knew. Like, she's a journalist at heart. No shade to WWE, but she's making her own lane, which I'm seeing a lot of people do. So Renee, she has her own show, which is doing phenomenal. The numbers are crazy. But she also now is going to be doing a UFC show with Misha Tate, which is crazy because are you guys familiar with Misha Tate?
Yes.
Okay. So for my folks who are not familiar with Misha Tate, there's a time in UFC when Ronda Rousey was on top. And I love this storyline because they pushed Ronda to the point where she was like the Mayweather of UFC. Like, and the opposite, she wasn't taking 10 rounds to like win, but you know what I'm saying? She was not losing any matches. No shade to Mayweather. I don't want any bad tweets. She was not losing any matches. And her and Misha Tate had like a back and forth. And just Misha was the chick. Misha was the woman before Ronda Rousey came into the picture. And then for some reason, Ronda put in her work. Definitely go and read her bio, her book, because it talks about her whole history of how she got to this point. But Ronda came into the picture, dominated, and then everybody pushed Misha to the side, and then she lost to Ronda Rousey, I think twice. So after that loss, it's just kind of like, it's kind of devastating. I think she tried acting a little bit. Don't quote me on that part either. But here she is. She's retired. She's doing a show with Renee. And I think she's had a lot of years in the industry. So kudos to both of them. Kudos to Renee for getting those checks and she doesn't have to travel to all those crazy places if she doesn't want to. And it seems like she has good relations with WWE and AEW and everybody because she's getting all these guests. Trust me, it's certain promotions don't want you to get a guest or they're going to, take some time. They will. And she's getting all these guests. So kudos to Renee for all these jobs. Any words to say, ladies?
That's actually great for her because she recently had a kid too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that would be great for her to not like have to like travel all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously like be able to take care of her baby. But at the same time, it's great to know that there are more women who are talking about, wrestling or UFC or sports in general, because there's not a lot of women who are out there. And it's obviously it's male dominated, but to me it makes me feel proud that, oh my God, there's these two women who are, they're having a new show, they're talking about sports, wrestling, UFC, and usually we're breaking the norm of only guys talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that there's more and more women who are having shows talking about, back in the day it's just mostly men who talk about it. To me, it's it's a good kind of change.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it too because I love Renee, and when she left WWE, I was devastated. I was so devastated. But seeing her with her other show called Oral Sessions, and all the people she's been getting for that, and then now being able to talk about the MMA with an MMA legend,
Mm-hmm.
and Misha Tate is only it's only gonna get better and better from her from here. And it's like Raina said, it is inspiring to see more women talking about combat sports in that way because it's just it makes people like me sort of feel like there's a space, there that's waiting
Yeah.
in the future. So it's great. And I love and appreciate Renee Young forever.
And you have to forever, not just today or tomorrow, but forever.
Forever. It doesn't matter what she's doing, forever.
I co-sign on that because even UFC boxing, there's more female combat fighters than we even know, and they're not getting highlighted. Like even to the point where if you were to Google women's wrestling shows, there's a lot more than there was 5 years ago. But now you talk about the boxing realm and the MMA realm, there's not that many. And I know a couple of female interviewers who do have shows, but it's like for both sides. Not to say, no shade to the guys, but you guys have enough people. It's like really showcasing these women, because the more we showcase them, the more money they get, because now they're on different platforms. The more money, I'm saying, it just you bring attention to it. So definitely kudos to them, especially with both their names. I think hopefully they do talk to a lot more UFC fighters, include the men too, but female UFC fighters, because that era, that Ronda Rousey era, where can anybody name who the champions for UFC right now?
Is it Amanda Nunes?
Yeah. I don't know if it's her anymore. It might be.
Really?
But I don't know.
Because she held it for a long time. That's why I thought.
But that's the thing.
Her.
Right. That's the thing. I'm not sure. You're not sure. I think you're right. Somebody can look it up right now and let me know.
I'm looking it up because I'm curious. I have to know this now.
But that's the thing. But because you remember, there was a time where it was like you didn't have to think about it. It was Ronda Rousey. You know what I'm saying? So if they can bring that back to female combat sports, that would be amazing. So while Stephanie is looking that up, congratulations to Renee and Misha Tate. Definitely looking forward to that. And then also piggybacking on Renee's podcast, Oral Sessions. Man, she has everybody her shows sometimes are a little bit on the long side. So I think probably Christmas I'll probably go through all her interviews, because I know they're not just standard interviews, because she's a really good journalist. So, but she had Deanna Prazo on recently, and Deanna was talking about her experience with WWE. Did you guys get to listen to this? I think it just dropped either today or yesterday. So did you guys get a chance to listen to it at all?
No, I didn't. And it's Amanda Nunes still.
How many, I feel like she's been the champion for 3 years.
It doesn't say how long, but it just says that yeah, she's still the champion.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
been a minute. I think she might have lost it and then got it back. But again, don't quote me on it.
Yeah.
But on the Oral Sessions interview with Diana Perrazzo, who is the Impact's knockout champion. She was also at NWA, had a great match with Melina. She said in the interview, so Renee asked about the vibe at NXT. And Deanna said that's the vibe I got. I was doing wrong because we would have you do a skull session and they kind of gave you a critique. And I was in the class that I felt like I could do all these things. And in Serena Deeb's class, and Serena was trained by my trainer. So it was kind of like all the things we were doing I had done before I got there. So I would sit down every week and be like, let's watch this match. What can I do better? So it does feel like, I'm sure you guys will agree with me, it does feel like the Impact gave Deanna like, just do what works for you. We trust you. And you could see her shine. Like you could just see like the overall happiness and how her social medias and all this other stuff. So like what do you think of the difference, the Deanna of WWE and the Deanna of Impact? What do you think the difference is? Was it a great move? Not to say she had a choice in it because she got let go, but do you think she would be better off at WWE, or Impact's a good move for her, or what do you guys think?
With her story, it's kind of like, when one door closes, another one opens. And then sometimes you don't understand at the moment why it's happening. And then fast forward to like the breakthrough of, why that door closed, you realize, oh, okay, this is for the better. And I think with Deanna, she took advantage of that door closing, and look at her now, and the fact that, she has like more liberty to kind of be herself. And I think that's kind of what helps someone to kind of bring out the best of, what they have, because they don't feel like they're being micromanaged or being told, okay, you're only supposed to do this. Right. But with her, it's like, okay, I know what I can do. Now I have a platform to do it. Now here world, take it all in.
Yeah, I agree with that. And the more I actually read of the article, it seemed like NXT didn't necessarily think that she was on the level that she knew she was at. Mm-hmm. It's like she already knew that she was on the level in which we know her for now, and NXT wanted to treat her like she was B plus, or like C, like B or C plus, and she knew she was A. And you can't, and I feel like when you're in a place like that, you can't thrive, and be able to show exactly what you have to offer, because you have all these powers that's sort of holding you back in a sense. Yeah. So it was for the best that even though she did get let go, it was probably the best thing that ever happened for her, because once she got to Impact and she knew what she was able to do, they let her go, and now she's a dominant champion. And even just being able to speak with her, even at NWA, and seeing her fight against the likes of Melina Perez, who's like a legend, like, ma'am, like what was everybody in NXT not seeing that everyone else saw? Like it was their loss. It was really their loss, and it was their mistake in the sense that they were trying to treat her like she was average, and she was well above average. So
yeah, I think the Shadow Ranger says WWE is the best place to be if they decide to run with you. If they don't, then it's a bad place to be. I agree. I mean, you have people like Bianca Belair, and if you go back to when she was in NXT, even before she made her debut, they were doing YouTube videos about her lifting. Like they had already knew what it was going to be. I don't know if the EST gimmick was developed at that time, but it was definitely for sure that you knew that WWE was rocking with her. And then also shout out to Outside the Ring from St. Louis on Facebook. I wonder if you saw you guys there. Do you know them, Steph?
I do. They connected with me. I believe it was on one of the Facebook pages that I follow, but they saw some of the interviews that I had posted from Women's Wrestling Talk from that weekend and connected with me.
Nice. Definitely go to our website, www.talkpod.com. We have one post that has all those interviews that Stephanie did from NWA. Really great interviews. And then just to answer a question, Amanda Nunes, she lost the title and then won it back. That's what I thought.
Okay. Yeah.
So again, it just kind of goes back to we really don't know what's going on. And there was a point where mainstream media, you don't even have to watch. You didn't have to watch MMA or UFC, and you just knew that if that was a Jeopardy question, your guess would have been correct that it was Ronda Rousey. And now it's just kind of like you don't know. So that kind of is the end of our news. Sorry, you guys, it went a little bit longer than usual. But like I said, there's a couple stuff on our channel for you guys to check out. Definitely check out. We have this panel that we had. It dropped yesterday. The top 10 active Latina wrestlers. Marty Bell is. Let me go back. The NWA Tag Team Champion, Marty Bell. She leads that panel. Educates us a lot on that as well. The difference between Hispanic and Latina. Very eye-opening. We go to the top 10. Very interesting. Let me preface that again. We didn't write it. WWT rankings dude did write it. And there's a lot of discrepancies there. So definitely go and check out that article and definitely go and check out that panel. What else? Oh, we had today, and you can go back and watch that. We talked about the women on the top 500, PWI top 500, where we partnered with Bell to Bells, and we discussed the women that were on the PWI. So definitely go and check that out as well. And next week on Fight TV, we have Jordan Grace from Impact on. So go and check out that interview. So a lot going on this week, or this week into next week. But yeah, I kind of want to give you guys a gist of what's going on if you're craving more women's wrestling talk. First off, Rain, thank you so much for joining us. Let people know where they can find you, what you've been up to, all that good stuff. Because it was so funny. I was at SummerSlam and I saw you. And I think a couple weeks ago, I saw Jack Farmer, who's a friend of the show, and Stephanie. And then I think Flobito also did the TikTok competition. I completely missed it. Maybe because I'm not on TikTok. Like I'm on TikTok, but I'm not on TikTok. But yeah, I saw you. You did an amazing job. Kudos, because there was a lot of people there. So tell everybody where they can find you.
Oh, first of all, thank you so much for having me again. You guys can find me on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, at Ringside Rain with an E.
And then Miss Stephanie Hardy, where can everybody find you?
Well, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Queen Steph Hardy, like it says in the box. And you can follow my show, The Hardy Wrestling Podcast, on Instagram at Hardy Wrestling Podcast and on Twitter at Hardy WrestlePod. I will be having a new episode this weekend.
There it is. And thank you guys so much for joining us. We will, I'll just put it in the universe. We'll be back next Thursday at 4:00 for the news. So definitely check that out. Like I said, Fight TV, our interview with Jordan Grace, which is absolutely hilarious, by the way. We asked her, I don't want to give it away, but we talked about rap a lot. We talked about hip hop music a lot. So it was a great interview. I want to say she is probably her favorite interview, but again, don't quote me. I was just there. We'll ask her after the fact, but definitely go and check that out. Follow us on all social media at WWTalkPod. Go to our website, www.talkpod.com. My name is TK Trinidad. You can follow me on everything at TK Trinidad. Again, thank you so much for joining us, for rocking with us, for giving your opinions. Thank you all out. I feel like let me shout out the people in the chat because you guys stayed with us the whole time because normally we're not this long. So shout out to Amazing Tribe. Shout out to In the Mix Radio. I think we had, Revolution to Evolution. You gave some really good deets to the Shadow Ranger. So thank you guys so much for joining us. Please continue rocking with us. We are going to be doing more live shows because we want to be a little bit more interactive. But other than that, thanks guys. Till next time. Ciao.
Thank you.